In the small town of Maplewood, where the streets were lined with cherry blossom trees and the sun always seemed to shine a little brighter, lived a group of teenagers who felt like they were trapped in a bubble. Among them was Mia, a 16-year-old girl with a passion for art and a heart full of dreams. She often found herself sketching in her notebook, pouring her feelings onto the pages, but she struggled to express herself verbally.
Maya had a best friend named Jake, who was the complete opposite. He was loud, confident, and never hesitated to speak his mind. Jake often encouraged Maya to share her thoughts, but she felt that her voice didn't matter. "What if no one listens?" she would say, her eyes downcast. One afternoon, while sitting under their favorite cherry blossom tree, Jake turned to Maya and said, "You know, your voice matters. You have so much to say. You just need to believe that people want to hear it." "Really? What difference can I make?" "More than you think," Jake replied, his eyes sparkling with determination. "Let's start small. We can create a project together to raise awareness about issues that matter to us. We can use our voices to make a difference." Inspired by Jake's words, Maya began to think about the issues that weighed heavily on her heart. She remembered the stories she had heard from her classmates about bullying, mental health struggles, and the pressure to fit in. It was a silent epidemic that no one seemed to talk about, and Maya felt compelled to do something. The next day at school, Maya and Jake gathered a group of friends. Sarah, a talented musician, Leo, a budding writer, and Emma, a passionate activist. They shared their ideas and realized they all had stories to tell. Together, they decided to create a multimedia project called Voices of Maplewood, where they would collect stories from their peers and present them through art, music, and writing. As they brainstormed, Mia felt a flicker of excitement. "What if we host an event where everyone can share their stories? We can create a safe space for people to speak up." With their plan in motion, the group met every day after school to work on Voices of Maplewood. They designed posters, reached out to classmates, and created social media accounts to promote their event. They wanted to ensure that everyone felt welcomed and encouraged to share their experiences. As the event approached, Maya found herself feeling nervous. What if no one showed up? What if people didn't want to share their stories? But Jake reminded her, it's not about the number of people. It's about creating a space where voices can be heard. On the day of the event, the school auditorium was filled with students. Maya stood backstage, her heart racing. She could hear the chatter of her classmates, and for a moment, she felt overwhelmed. But then she remembered why they were doing this. As the event began, Jake took the stage and welcomed everyone. "Thank you for being here today. We believe that every voice matters, and we want to create a space where we can all share our stories without fear of judgment." One by one, students began to share their stories. Sarah sang a heartfelt song about feeling lost and finding her way. Leo read a powerful poem about the struggles of anxiety. Emma spoke passionately about the importance of mental health awareness. As Maya listened, she felt a wave of emotions wash over her. Each story was a reminder that they were not alone in their struggles. When it was her turn to speak, she took a deep breath and stepped onto the stage. "Hi, everyone. I'm Mia," she began, her voice shaking slightly. "I've always been afraid to share my thoughts, but I realized that my voice matters just like yours. I want to talk about the importance of being kind to one another and how we can support each other." As she spoke, she felt the weight of her fears lift. The audience listened intently, and she could see nods of understanding. For the first time, she felt empowered to use her voice. After the event, something shifted in Maplewood. Students began to open up about their experiences, and the atmosphere of the school changed. Maya, Jake, Sarah, Leo, and Emma became known as the Voices crew, and they continued to organize events, workshops, and discussions about mental health, bullying, and self-acceptance. Maya found herself speaking more often, not just at events but in her everyday life. She started a blog where she shared her art and thoughts, encouraging others to express themselves. She realized that her voice had the power to inspire others, and she wanted to use it to make a difference. As the months passed, the impact of Voices of Maplewood spread beyond their school. Other schools in the district began to take notice, and soon, Maya and her friends were invited to share their project at a regional youth conference. Standing in front of a larger audience, Maya felt a mix of excitement and nerves. But she remembered the journey that had brought her here, the whispers of doubt, the encouragement from her friends, and the stories of those who had bravely shared their experiences. As she spoke about the importance of using one's voice, she saw faces light up in the crowd. "Your voice matters," she said passionately. "It can change lives, create connections, and break the silence that so many of us feel. Don't be afraid to speak up." After the conference, Mia and her friends received messages from students who were inspired by their story. They learned about the struggles others faced and how sharing their voices had helped them heal. Maya felt a sense of fulfillment knowing that their project had sparked a movement. However, the journey wasn't always easy. There were moments of doubt, fear, and setbacks. But through it all, Maya remembered the strength of their community. They supported one another, celebrated their victories, and learned from their challenges. One day, while sitting under the cherry blossom tree with Jake, Maya reflected on how far they had come. "I never thought I could make a difference," she said, a smile spreading across her face. "But now I see that every voice matters, including mine." As their senior year approached, Maya and her friends decided to create a legacy project to ensure that Voices of Maplewood would continue even after they graduated. They worked together to establish a club that would promote mental health awareness and provide a platform for students to share their stories. On the last day of school, they hosted a final event to celebrate their journey. The auditorium was filled with students, teachers, and parents, all eager to hear the stories that had shaped their community. Maya took the stage one last time, her heart swelling with pride. "Thank you all for being a part of this journey. Remember, your voice matters. Never underestimate the power of sharing your story. Together, we can break the silence and make a difference."
As Mia and her friends graduated, they felt a mix of emotions. They were excited for the future, but sad to leave behind the community they had built. However, they knew that their legacy would live on. Mia enrolled in an art program at a nearby college, where she continued to use her voice through her art. She created pieces that reflected the stories of those she had met, using her talent to advocate for mental health awareness and self-expression. Jake pursued a career in public speaking, sharing his message of empowerment and encouraging others to find their voices. Sarah, Leo, and Emma also followed their passions, each contributing to the world in their unique ways. Years later, as Mia stood in her studio, surrounded by her artwork, she received a message from a student at Maplewood High. The student shared how inspired they were by the Voices of Maplewood project and how it had encouraged them to speak up about their own struggles. Mia smiled, realizing that their journey was far from over. The ripple effect of their voices continued to spread, touching lives and inspiring change. In that moment, she understood the true meaning of their journey. It wasn't just about breaking the silence. It was about creating a community where everyone felt empowered to share their stories. As Mia reflected on her journey, she knew that every voice mattered. Whether it was a whisper or a shout, each story had the power to create change. She hoped that others would continue to embrace their voices and use them to make a difference in the world. So, if you ever feel like your voice doesn't matter, remember Mia, Jake, and their friends. They started with a simple idea and transformed their community. Your voice is powerful, and it can inspire others to break the silence and share their stories. Speak up. Share your story. Your voice matters.